You're a product of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with, and you spend most likely the most amount of time with your best friend. In the previous 2 videos in this series of 7 friends every man needs, we talked about the mentor, we talked about the encourager, and now it's time we talk about your best friend, your bestie, your day one, whatever you want to call it. See, your best friend is there for the whole entire journey. He's the one you can talk to about anything. When something goes wrong, chances are he's the first one you call to vent about it with. He knows you, and he knows everything about you, and he accepts you for the way you are. Through this series, we've been using a pit car analogy to describe the friends that you need. You are the race car, and your friends are different parts of your pit crew that help you get you across that finish line. Your mentor was the pit crew captain. Your encourager was the tire changer, and your best friend? He's the gas man. He's the one who fills up your tank when you're empty. See, without the gas man, without your best friend, you would stall. What's the point in having someone to help you through the track? What's the point of having new tires and everything go well if you don't have enough gas to keep on going? See, the best part about a best friend is that you spend so much time with your best friend that he knows how to fill you up. He knows when you're running empty, he knows how to prevent you from running empty, and he also knows how to fill you up. So why do we even need a friend? Not a best friend, why do we need a friend? Well, we're vulnerable when we're alone. In Proverbs 18, it says, "Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire, and he breaks out of his own judgment." When you're alone, you focus on you alone, and you ignore any good wisdom or advice that's been offered to you by anybody that you know. It could be your family, it could be other acquaintances you have, it could even be your mentor. In communications, as you know, I'm a communications major in college, we are taught that we are relational, and the Bible completely agrees with that. We are made to talk to other people. See, if you want to know where you're going to end up in life, or even what you are like, look at your 5 friends. Because your 5 friends are going to tell you a lot about yourself, where you will be, and will really be an eye-opener for you. It was an eye-opener for me. Now in this series, this is based on the series by Justin Erickson in this book called 7 Friends Every Man Needs. If you want to keep along or check out the book, the link is in the description below. What are the qualities of a biblical friendship? Before we talk about that, it's important that we talk about what even is a friend. See, a friend is someone who come alongside you for your journey, for a short period of time. A best friend goes through you with the whole journey. See, a friend may know that you're a NASCAR driver, but a best friend will know how long you've been a NASCAR driver for, how long you've been racing for, why you choose to race. He has a deeper understanding of yourself. Now that we know what a friend is versus a best friend, we can now talk about the qualities of a biblical friendship. And now it should be stated that the most important factor in a biblical friendship, and this goes for all 7 friends that you're going to encounter, is that they put God first. See, all biblical relationships and friendships are rooted in a desire to see God glorified. Every one of them, of your friends, their goal is to help you achieve your purpose that God gave you to achieve, and help push you forward in your calling, and help you really just walk through life and get through it, safe and sound. See, the first quality is conviction. There's a saying that like people attract like people. It's the opposite of a magnet. When you get 2 people magnetic, polar opposites, they repel each other on a magnet. However, if you flip it over and you get 2 magnets of the same, they will automatically draw closer to each other. In the same way, that's what a best friend is. Like people like people, and chances are your best friend's going to be convicted about the same things you are. For example, the person I call my best friend is convicted about relationships and having sex before marriage, and it's something that we both struggled with for a very, very, very long time. And he's convicted about those same things. He's convicted about the same things that I am. He's convicted about not having sex before marriage or smoking a lot of marijuana, which I did and he did in his past. And so together, we come together to help each other and walk through it, because we both know what each other has been through. We both know how hard it is to stop doing what it is. And we both have those same convictions, and so we both understand each other better. Don't roll your eyes and listen closely, because the second quality is affection. Now, we're not talking about affection the same way you would give a woman affection. That is intimacy. When we think of affection, we think of mushy gushy. We talk about our feelings, we cry, blah, 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 blah. But we often, as men, don't even know what affection is. And affection is when you put the values and beliefs of the other person before you. That's how you show affection. For example, let's say you're going to a restaurant, and I'm a vegan in case you don't know, and my best friend loves to eat meat. So when we go out to restaurants, he'll sometimes go to a vegan restaurant. However, I make the conscious sacrifice and I show my affection by going to the place he wants to go to that almost every time only serves meat, and I get a simple side salad. Why? Because I'm putting his interest and his happiness above myself. That's how you show affection towards another man. And that's the same type of thing we talk about repeatedly through this series, that you show the people around you you're a Christian by your actions and not what you say. Now, quality 3, commitment. Okay, we're not talking about commitment to a woman. Keep in mind that relationships can also be for a man and a man also just as much as it is for a man and a woman. They're just not the same type of relationship. See, Justin Erickson says that commitment is an inward promise of loyalty to the other person. I completely agree with that. See, commitment is rooted in sacrifice. Sacrificing your needs and wants for the other person. Like we talked about with affection just a moment ago. And it's sacrifice because you realize that it's no longer about just you anymore. Commitment is knowing that it's not just about you, it's about the other person as well. And that's what the key distinction is between affection and commitment. Because you can be affectionate and still think everything revolves around you, but true commitment requires sacrifice, and that means internally realizing, internally promising yourself that you're loyal to the other person and you want to put their needs before yourself. And in a committed friendship, you want to be putting just as much into giving as you are receiving. In fact, I would argue you should put more into giving than you are receiving, not the same amount, because you should be giving more than you receive to the other person. Because the best types of friendships happen when you give yourself away. And when you give yourself away, your friend's going to see that and he's going to want to give back. And it's a never-ending circle, and it's a cycle. Quality number 4. You're going to roll your eyes at this one again. Fair warning, but it's being vulnerable. And we're not talking about crying. We're not talking about, oh, I'm sad today. No. Vulnerability is more than just that. It's about an openness to another person. See, when you're vulnerable with your best friend, you'll know because your best friend knows how you really are and loves you just the way you are. And you won't be afraid to be the way you are with your best friend. And what's so important and I love about best friends is that they speak on your behalf and they support you no matter what. They are always loyal to you. They never leave your side in an argument. They never leave your side when they're with you or when they're not with you. They almost never talk bad about you. Why? Because you're committed to each other. You want to see each other uplifted. A good best friend doesn't bring you down in the sights of other people. Now, an example of this in the Bible is the story of Saul, David, and Jonathan. Jonathan was David's best friend, but also Saul's son. Now, Jonathan had such deep regard for David that he gave his holy armor to him. And Jonathan was, I believe, was next in line to become king. And so by giving the armor, he pretty much said to David, you will be the new king. And Saul, Jonathan's father, did not like that. So Saul set out to kill Jonathan's best friend, David. In order to stop that, Jonathan went out, spoke to his father on his best friend's behalf, and fought for him. See, there are 3 kinds of friends in your life. You have people who have a view of your life, who see what's going on, but don't actively take a role. You have people who have a voice in your life. You talk to them about your issues, but you really don't actually listen to what they have to say. And then you have people who vote in your life. People who you seek advice from, and people who you listen to, and you almost take their advice almost every time. And that's a best friend. A best friend has a vote in your life. So how do you find your best friend? Chances are you already have your best friend and you already know who your best friend is. But in the case you don't, the number one thing you should do is pray about it. God will give you the perfect best friend for you. The perfect one. And all you have to do is pray for it and learn to look for your best friend. Because God will answer your prayers. Most of the time we just don't consciously look for that answer to those prayers. And now there are a couple things that you really should keep in mind when looking for a best friend. Your best friend, and the relationship between you and your best friend should be nurturing on a spiritual level, right? You two should be growing together spiritually, and I would go to say that he should have the same spiritual maturity as you, because you don't want someone who's of higher spiritual maturity that you learn from, because that would be a mentor. And you don't want someone who's not as spiritually mature with you, because that would be another friend we talk about, the disciple or the unbeliever. You want them to be the same spiritual level because you two will be spiritually maturing together and really walking out your life together. I would also argue you should stop worrying about the small things. Stop worrying about these small things. The biggest part of your best friend is that they believe in God and that they want to pursue a holy relationship. That's the best thing in a best friend. That's what you should be looking for. That should be your top priority. Stop concerning yourself with what type of music they listen to. What do they like to do in their spare time? Where do they like to go? What are their hobbies? That stuff in the long run won't matter. In fact, it's probably really good that you have a lot of differences because you'll be growing more through those differences. In fact, those differences help your best friend give you a better perspective that chances are you as a stubborn male are not getting. So what if he has all these different tastes? What matters is his relationship with God. Now that was the third friend you should have in your life, the best friend. If you want to learn more about the best friend, buy the book, because I can only go so deep into the best friend in a short video like this, but there's so much I didn't even cover. And if you really like this video, I highly encourage you to subscribe, because you might miss part 4, 5, 6, and 7 of this series when we talk about all the other best friends. You may not get notified, and chances are you're not going to remember that these next person's coming up. So if you subscribe, you'll get notified. And JT, signing out.